You will like and subscribe. You will like and subscribe. Hello, Tom.
Dana, what's going on?
Not much. Hanging out. Trying to start a new episode of Two Guys Talking Toys. We had a little bit of technical difficulty.
We found out this is a lot harder than it looks.
Well, it didn't used to be, but
I know, right? Somehow this was easier when we first started doing this.
Well, you know why? Because we were on the computers last time, and it was all set up with the lights and the whole 9 yards. And now it's just two guys on phones.
Now it's two cans connected by a string. Very tenuous internet string, but it's working out.
Yeah, well, we're going to be all right. It's past both our bedtimes. I've got my chai.
Not too bad.
I still have work to do after we get off.
That is horrendous. This is supposed to be the end of your day when you unwind and you come here and you talk about toys with me and all the listeners who are watching. And I'm hoping that they are subscribed to the channel. And if they're not, then hit the subscribe button. We picked up a couple of subscribers.
Did we get 100 yet? We had 99 the other day.
We blew past 100. So
nice.
thank you to everyone who's subscribed to this show and give us likes. And I hope that you hit notifications so you know that that another episode is coming, because we're trying to get them out a little more consistently now. I hope that you are checking out the toy reviews. There are going to be some new toy reviews coming a little bit later this week. And I'm excited. I'm glad that people are listening. I looked at our analytics on Spotify.
Uh-oh.
Which I guess I should bring up, and I don't know why I completely forget to bring up that you can watch Two Guys Talking Toys, and we're glad that you do. But if you're driving to work and you have Spotify, open up Spotify, and you can find us there. You can actually find us on a lot of streaming platforms. So if you want to just listen to the show instead of viewing our beautiful faces, because we know that's distracting, for better or worse.
Next you can find us on OnlyFans.
We'll show you toes of action figures. So if you want to check out the action figure toe OnlyFans, that'll be on the way.
God, you're getting that virtual background disappearing toy act again.
It's going to stay here until I don't know when. But if you are enjoying the show on Spotify or any of the other streaming services, we appreciate you listening to the show. But also know that you can look us up on YouTube. Look up Two Guys Talking Toys, the number 2, and you can watch us in person while we're showing the toys, which I imagine you probably sussed that out already, because every week we say, I got this, here, look at this. So I'm sure you probably sussed it out. You're like, oh, this is probably a show on YouTube. So,
right.
But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. The last time I looked at the analytics, a lot of listeners in Albuquerque. So thank you, all you Albuquerque.
I should have made a left turn at Albuquerque.
One of my favorite Bugs Bunny scenes. Also one of my favorite Weird Al songs.
Yes.
So keep listening, Albuquerque. Also, thank you to everyone else who's been listening. So with that, Dana, what have you found?
I found Crystal Ball from the G.I. Joe Classified series. It's so funny that everybody wants this figure, because when the first one came out in 1987, nobody wanted it. That thing sat on shelves for a long time. Nobody wanted Crystal Ball.
No one cared about old Crystal Ball.
And you know why? Because he controlled people with his mind and hypnosis. Mm-hmm. But we already had Dr. Mindbender for that.
And it's in his name.
Yeah. Well, he had some weird names that, they were working with before they went with Crystal Ball, like Transmaster, or there was another one that was weird. It sounded like a Transformer name. But I am digging this figure. I wish these glowed in the dark, because this comes off, because he's got the old... Yeah, because
cool.
The shield is reminiscent of the vintage one.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Now, what year did Crystal Ball come out?
1987.
1987. Okay, so so he actually predates. I was going to joke that no one cared about Crystal Ball because he gave the off that air of when all those 1-800 or 1-900 psychic hotlines came out in the 90s, and everyone they were gonna like Madam So and So is going to tell you your fake fortune, and then she wound up like scamming people out of thousands of dollars. Was that Crystal
Yeah,
Ball?
that was Crystal Ball. Yeah, yeah. But he's
The
got this.
mastermind behind those? Those weapons are really cool. See,
I
this
would say
is
glow in the
why.
dark.
Yeah, that's a real. I mean, the figure is a hit. Like he looks awesome. The weapons hit all the right notes for me.
Yeah,
That clear like
and the extra
ectoplasm
head.
green.
It looks
That's what
the
really sells it for me.
kind of like
The idea that Crystal Ball is in fact a man who's wearing a man suit, but at his core, he is this weird, like
yeah,
Cthulhu-ish creature underneath. For me, I know that's what sells it for me. It is also kind of cool that Stephen King made him, or him and his son helped
the
create him.
sun.
That was kind of neat. But yeah, it's that design, that really cool, the way that the classics, or I'm sorry, the classifieds line at Hasbro, that team have been on fire, and
Yeah,
they remade all these characters I didn't necessarily know or care about. But Crystal Ball, who I also didn't know about, knew nothing about him. Just
right.
that classified figure looks amazing.
Yeah, and with this extra head, this
It's so
Cthulhu
cool.
kind of head is really like out there. And
That's
of
so
course, he
neat.
got his crystal ball.
You need it. You need
You
it
need
in the
it. You
name.
need it. Here's the thing. I am a little bit disappointed in this figure because the original, the vintage 87 looked like Vincent Price.
Yeah.
And I thought that
Uh,
was cool because it
mhm.
captured that sort of off-putting.
Yes.
When you read about his character, he's off. Like you were talking about Mindbender last week, that people got
Mhm.
uncomfortable. That's like
Mhm.
part of Crystal Ball's character description because of his whole mysticism thing, and he could hypnotize you with his shield and all. But yeah, I really want him to look like Vincent Price. This guy looks more like Thrasher, who was the dreadnought who came with the vehicle.
Oh,
It
okay.
looks
I,
like this.
I
But he
wonder
does.
if
He
that
still
was.
has the red eyes, though. I don't know if you can
Yeah.
see them, and he's got sort of that. What's that rock star's name? Alice Cooper or
Yeah.
King Diamond. He's got a very King Diamond look.
Yes, he
That's
does
what
have a
I'm
very
thinking
King
of.
Diamond look to him. I wonder if that was a rights issue. If they were afraid to maybe make it look a little too much like Vincent Price for fear of,
Yeah, maybe.
with like NECA doing all their Universal monster and like classic
Right,
monster
and
stuff. If they were,
they did do a Vincent Price because Dale is still waiting on him, pre-ordered from Big Bad Toy
yeah.
Store.
I always like the idea that Crystal Ball makes everyone uncomfortable because he's constantly cornering them at like the office parties, and he just wants to talk about the Tingler, and they're like, I don't want to stop. No
Right,
one wants to
right.
talk about the Tingler.
Plus the creepy red eyes. You don't want to hang around with him. But this is an outstanding figure. I like him a lot. I
And
do wish he looked more like Vincent Price, though, like
I
the old one.
I gotta say, one of the worst handled exclusives to date. Trying to order him through the Walmart collector con nonsense, and then the number of people whose pre-orders were canceled, myself included, that sucked. And then they went back up for pre-order, and I don't know if those pre-orders were honored or not. So I sympathize with anyone who tried
Right.
desperately to go through the correct channels. I say correct channels like you could rob a bank to but you did what they said you were supposed to do, and you did
Right.
not wind up getting a crystal ball. Like I sympathize because that sucks. And now hearing that, he's shown, I'm glad that you got him, and I'm glad you got one for me.
I
But
did.
I'm glad that you got one because in New York it's just a wasteland. It is empty shelves. We don't have the like, I know that there's like a new Marvel setups and dioramas, whatever that Walmart's have been setting up. We have none of that here. We don't have
Mm.
any retro re-releases. There's no new He-Man, no new GI Joes, no nothing. And yet I've seen pictures on Facebook groups where people are finding Crystal Ball on clearance already. Get your act
Wow.
together, Walmart. Get your act together.
Get
They
it
won't.
together. Imagine you're sitting in the Cobra, headquarters, and you're eating lunch in the Cobra cafeteria, and then these two guys come walking in
And they're like, I thought they hated each other.
Right? And then you're like,
Either they'd hang out all the time, like Crystal Ball is just always leaning on something in Dr. Mindbender's lab, or they can't stand each other. And Mindbender walks into Crystal Ball's room and he's like, hello, Mindbender.
they're trying to control each other. Just it's like they're
you're
just
so obvious. You're so blatant about it.
they're just sitting across the table trying to get. It's like a cerebral chess game.
No words exchanged. They just sit there staring at each other over their trays.
Yeah, that would be off-putting. That's when everybody just picks up their trays and they leave the cafeteria. So what did you get new this week?
Destro walks by. The milk's gone bad. You know what? I have a lot of things in transit right now. I have a lot of the newer Age of the Primes Transformers are making their way to my home. The final aerial bots are coming. I believe.
Please tell me they're being shipped Amazon Prime.
They one of them is coming from Amazon. One of them is coming from Hasbro Pulse. Who else is coming? Flatline. I'm actually excited for. He's a repaint of Armada First Aid, which is funny because I don't care about that character. I don't care about that figure because he's kind of chunky. He's a little a little bit throwbacky.
Hey,
he's
nothing wrong with being a little chunky.
There's nothing wrong with being a little chunky. Everyone loves. Look, it just means he's healthy. All right. I don't want an anorexic bot. Yeah, because then you wind up with like Michael Bay Transformers. I'm looking forward to Flatline, who is a repaint retool of Red Alert, and Red Alert is an ambulance, and Flatline is essentially a death machine. Like he's like the Decepticon medic.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you throw people in there, and I don't think they come out. But he looks really cool. He's got a really nice black and red color scheme, so that should be cool. What I did pick up, though, just on a whim, if you're on Walmart, because they're just random and weird, I did find another Necroconda, who is...
Oh, that's cool.
He's an older release, but he's the glow-in-the-dark Snake Man warrior creature thing, and the customizing potential in him is great. And you definitely want to troop build this guy because that's the whole point of the character is that he's I don't remember if he's the dead soldiers that get resurrected, or I think he's the shed skins of one of the like Snake Men mages, and those skins reanimate and become like horrible glow-in-the-dark creatures. So he's just a super cool design. I love him. I want him to be. I want multiples of him, and I can't wait for the Snake Fortress
I've
to
never
be
seen
made.
him before.
No, oh, he's so cool. He's got like lots of glow-in-the-dark weapons,
and I keep fleetingly seeing him now.
He's a great he's a great combination of like King Hiss and Snake Armor. He's really cool, really well done figure. I'm enjoying him. But if you go on Walmart, he's like $10 right now. Like he's on super clearance. So I recommend anyone go grab you a few of those. I like the idea that this character could also appear in, like, you could see him appearing in something like Supernaturals or Visionaries or like one of those.
Yeah, I can see him as a Visionary. Yeah,
and then like he just pops up in He-Man, and you're like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. You belong in that other franchise. And Dana, that's what I want to talk to you about today, because we already kind of set this up last week. I want to talk about crossover franchises, crossover properties. We're seeing so much of that now.
Yeah, a lot more of it now. And you know what?
With the most recent He-Man and Thundercats crossovers, like it's becoming, toy companies, I think, have started to realize that fans are into this kind of thing.
Right.
It's fun. It's a fun thing. It doesn't have to make sense. It can just
and
be
you
an
kind of see
thing.
the same things crossing over, right? A lot of Transformers, He-Man, and Ninja Turtles go everywhere. And I'm trying to think of my first crossover toy line, and the one I probably remember most clearly having first was the Street Fighter figures in the G.I. Joe, the Real American Hero G.I. Joe line.
I think that I want to say that popped up around like mid-90s, early to
Yes.
mid '90s, because that was when you had your that was when video games became like the big thing, and
Yeah.
everyone loved Street Fighter and everyone loved Mortal Kombat, and then you had, I guess not really, as far as I remember, there was no official Street Fighter toy line unless there was something happening over in Japan. I'm not aware of that, but I remember over in the
Not at the
States the
time. No,
first
no, not at the
yeah
time.
I remember in the States the first commercial for the Street Fighter figures coming out in the GI Joe line,
Hmm.
because it was post movie and everyone was all jazzed about that, and then they showed up and they are very GI Joe in their
Right.
appearance. But yeah,
Well, I mean,
that's
they were GI Joe.
yeah, I mean, that is kind of the earliest that I remember, only because for me it's a toss up between the Street Fighter GI Joe crossover and Aliens versus Predator. And I only remember
Hmm.
that one a little bit more because of the comic line, and I remember that being like a
Was
big
that
deal. And
Kenner?
yes, that was Kenner, and because they had done the Aliens line, they
Hmm.
had done the Predators line, and everyone in the mother was like, "Well, you have to," and then they
Not
did. It
my
was
mother. My mother wasn't.
there- my parents were impressively supportive of my attraction to weird, crazy toy lines. And
Oh, my mother is definitely a toy enabler, but she, you know,
my mom did acknowledge how gross they were. And I will forever applaud her willingness to buy me some of the most gross. I remember for her birthday, her breaking down and getting me the slime pit.
right.
Slime pit's one of the best things in the world, but at its core, it is the skull of a creature that drips boogers out of its nose and mouth and covers another person in it.
Right. It's like,
Disgusting for
it's
a
like
mom.
working with a toddler. It's just a toddler.
Oh, 100%. But
Yeah, I was excited when that's true because I really wasn't a video game guy,
Mhm,
and never was.
mhm.
But I like some of the characters and I like some of the storylines. But I remember when Street Fighter came out because it was something new for GI Joe.
Yes.
So there were new characters
Mhm,
and you had a new leader. You had Bison who was kind of in charge, and then you had Blanca who was the figure that everybody wanted
mhm.
because he was big.
Was
He
he?
was yeah, he was so animalistic and he was big.
Mhm.
He was like not huge, but he was in like I think they used the road pig buck for him.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was pretty good size.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and then that's just how we found out about those guys. And Ken Masters
Did
was so boring.
did you collect the Mortal Kombat crossover with GI Joe as well, which was kind
I
of a
no, I was
weird.
kind of I wasn't interested. By the time those
Oh,
came out, now we're
mhm,
talking like late '90s. I had moved
mhm.
on past.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but I was
Yeah,
buying at that point. I was buying the superheroes and moving
mhm.
into the 6-inch line toys.
I remember being more aware of the Mortal Kombat line only because it was the first time they attempted to do Goro,
Right.
and with the four arms, that's a
And it
weird
was a cool
kind
figure.
of
It was cool.
yeah.
I have them now,
Mhm,
but then I didn't buy them.
mhm. Now, have you picked up any of the uh, Transformers GI Joe crossovers? Like I know they took them a long time to get to it because I mean, as far as media, one of the
Right.
earliest crossovers to ever happen because everyone remembers that cover of GI Joe making Bumblebee explode,
Right. Right. Yeah.
almost as iconic as the Spider-Man swinging past Megatron.
Yeah.
But that like it was one of those that was one of those crossovers that made sense, and I remember people not understanding why we got GI Joe Street Fighter, but not GI Joe Transformers because they're
Right.
owned by the same company, and it just seemed like it is a no brainer.
Right. It is a no-brainer, and I love the fact like now they have the Hiss tank and the dune buggy
Mhm.
and it's like now you could pretend that they were the Transformers the entire time. Right,
Yeah,
the All Striker, and then it's just now it's a
it makes
Transformer. I don't know why they didn't do Brawn as the GI Joe Jeep. I would be excited about that, but I do love that crossover because the figures are exactly the same as the vintage ones. They're using the
mhm.
same molds, and
my
the idea that his tanks were Transformer the whole time is pretty cool.
See, that's one of those lines where I like the idea and I like the concept and but the execution, not so much. The Megatron Hiss tank. I remember when it was announced, and I was very excited because the idea of Megatron, it's been done in the
Right.
comics before,
Megatron
so
and GI
it would
Joe.
be
Right.
kind of
Yeah, it's
cool.
perfect. Mhm.
And then you look at the actual figure, and you look at him in Megatron mode, and it just looks like Megatron stumbled across a destroyed Hiss, just stripped off some bits and glued them to himself. Like there's no
That's what
the
happened.
best Transformers are the ones who look fully integrated into whatever their alt mode is. And when they transform from that, like it's cool to see elements of whatever vehicle in them. Like, Optimus Prime's iconic window pecs from being the front of the cab. Like everyone knows what that
Instead
is.
of making them dance like the wrestlers, the windshield wipers just go.
I like the thing that he did, and they just cut it out. They're like, listen, Prime likes doing this thing. It makes all of us uncomfortable, but he thinks it's hilarious. If he like,
Right.
I can imagine him in like the most tense moments. You just get like a little squirt of the windshield wiper fluid, just on Megatron, just to make him laugh.
I
And they're like,
liked.
Prime, stop.
I
But
like the
I wish
original
that they would
cartoon
handle.
storyline where they crashed and used the car parts to repair themselves, and that's why they look like cars.
Well, they were scanned, so
Right.
I mean, I guess they weren't technically that they just reformatted their whole bodies
Right. Right. Right.
to be that. But that's what, to me, the most successful Transformers are the ones that are fully integrated, and I think that the
Yeah.
shortcoming of the Transformers GI Joe crossover lines very ambitious, and I definitely applaud them, and I kind of want them to try again because I don't know, like something's not missing, or something's missing, and I wish that they could do a little bit better. Same thing with. I guess before I jump into it, I like that certain toy lines we see this a lot when a toy line is popular and it does a specific thing, it has a very specific gimmick. You'll see other toy lines try to mimic that same
Right.
thing,
Yes.
and we saw that with the Marvel shapeshifters. Do you
Oh
remember
God.
those? The Juggernaut and the very unfortunate Punisher, who had a very unfortunate transformation
Why are
into a
you
gun.
bringing those up?
Because everyone wanted to be Transformers, and they were like, "That's a line. We've got this great Marvel franchise, and we've done a bunch of figures. How can we do something a little different? That's a little out of our wheelhouse. Let's have them turn into things." And it was just a
Mhm.
bad plan, and they looked
Yeah, it was terrible.
terrible.
Just
But then
terrible.
there was
Terrible.
but then there was the official Transformers Marvel crossover line where they did Spider-Man as a motorcycle, who I think was one of
Yeah.
the most successful ones. But then you had your clunkers like the Hulk tank, which
Right.
I take it back. That whole line compared to the shapeshifters leaps and bounds ahead of
Well,
their
of
time.
course. I mean, you compare anything to
Way
the
better.
shapeshifters, it's going to be better.
But if you compare the official crossover to, say, like, I don't want to use modern engineering. Look at the time. We'll say like car robots. Like those figures, way better than anything the shapeshifters had to offer. And Eric, my buddy Eric, had a really good theory about that. His thing was, chances are Takara Tomy had nothing to do with those lines. I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but his
You
theory
don't?
was, no, I lost my job there years ago. They don't do with me. They won't give me all my background information anymore. But his thought was, chances are this was kind of like in-house. And again, who knows what the legalities were? Who knows what the right take
Mhm.
was? But the lines that look a little bit off, and they don't have that like really polished like Transformers Legacy, Power of the Primes. I mean, even if you go back to like Armada, Energon, Cybertron, like those figures, those were all like co-created between Hasbro and Takara Tomy. So you had them dedicated to that. But the Marvel line, I think may have been handled in house, and you're not
Right.
you're not getting that. Like, Takara is laser focused on, like, this is what they do. These are the things that they come up with, and this is like that. Like, they're light years ahead of everyone else, way ahead of the curve. And I think that we saw that when you have the dedicated line that wasn't them. So you had things like the Star Wars crossovers, same thing. When Star Wars had their Transformers crossovers, we got like the X-wing and the Death Star and the Millennium Falcon. They were okay, just not the best. Oh no, have you frozen?
No, just
Oh,
listening.
okay. Sorry. I was worried because I don't want this episode to crash. Um,
Right.
but
But
but I
they
think
did
those.
do fantastic things when they were doing original molds, though. Like when they were doing famous cars and then doing original robot form, like the Ghostbusters and the DeLorean, which were,
Yeah,
I know, a big thing.
yes, the more recent crossovers, like we're gonna have an interesting tally of who is the the crossover king at the end of the day.
So far,
Because
it's Ninja Turtles, but
yeah,
because
because you're right.
Even Garfield is crossing over with the Ninja
Yes,
Turtles now.
uh, but you're right. The
I
more
don't know why
recent.
I just did Don Knotts hands.
Why are there so many ostriches? I don't understand. But no, you're right. The more recent, and I think that might be because even now, like the in-house stuff has learned from things they did way back when. Their current, like, yeah, like you said, the Ghostbusters, the Ectotron, the Knight Rider crossover, the Gigawatt, the crossover with Back to the
I
Future,
just love
like
his
all
name.
those.
That's just a great name.
I wish that his personality was just Doc.
Like Doc. Yeah.
Like he's just wild, wacky, does crazy stuff, sends himself hurtling into the future. Yeah, those figures were all. Well, most of them were retools. So I don't know if this was them smartening up and saying, instead of us making these from scratch, let's take something that's already been designed by our parent by Takara, where we know all the engineering works out, and we'll just reverse engineer something on top of it. Because a lot of those figures started out as somebody else. Like I know Ectotron started off, I think, as one of the Combiner Wars figure. I think it may have been Onslaught, and they kind of like very carefully and very impressively crafted Ecto One on top of that, and we got that figure from him. But I think the crossover for Kit for the Knight Rider crossover, I think that's 100% new. Same thing for
Yeah,
Gigawatt.
that
I
was
could be
cool.
mistaken, but yeah, and those turned out really well. Um, we'll jump back to Transformers, but you brought up Ninja Turtles, and you're 100% right because I remember one of the earliest crossovers with them being the Universal Monsters back in like early Playmates when they got away from some of like the more wacky gimmicks and they started playing around with like Turtles in Time, and they were doing also with Star Trek. You remember the Star Trek Ninja Turtles?
Yes, I do, with the Playmates ones.
Yes, it was very much near the end of the line, but I remember that when they were really kind of grasping at straws and they were just doing anything and everything.
Mhm.
But I remember there being a Star Trek crossover with them. But I remember before that they were crossed over with the Universal Monsters. You had your like your Wolfman Leo and Mummy Raphael. And now we're seeing in the recent times, NECA had done their whole line of the Universal Monster crossovers, who look
Yeah, I even
phenomenal.
saw. I just saw in Five Below that the Care Bears have
Mhm.
crossed over with the Universal Monsters.
Really?
Yeah, they had
Like action figures?
yeah, they're like
That's
little they're articulated bobbleheads. But yeah,
that's funny. That is really awesome. I mean, and it's kind of cool because it's low hanging fruit. It's pretty simple to you can make anyone into Dracula or a vampire and get them into your line, and it kind of works out pretty well. So I always enjoy seeing kind of weird stuff like that. I know when the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles line popped up and they had their toy line going, and that was really good. They started experimenting a little bit with WWE. So there
right.
are crossover figures of I think Donatello as Undertaker and Michelangelo painted up like the Ultimate Warrior,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of a fun. Now, if you see that kind of thing on the shelf, are you more inclined to take a look at it, or do you just pass by and say, "Nah, I don't want it"?
You know what? Like the WWE Masters of the Universe crossover.
Mhm.
Some of those caught my eye. Like they were pretty
Mhm.
cool. But some of them were silly, like when they did the zombie stuff and all that. But
Mhm.
I do enjoy it. Like I think it's funny. Like I don't buy a lot of them, but I do
Mhm.
enjoy checking them out. I do have a couple of the WWE He-Man crossovers.
Yeah.
I didn't buy any of that Ninja Turtle WWE crossovers, but like I said, like Ninja Turtles are like crossover hoes. They're going
Look,
everywhere. They're getting
yeah.
around.
I do
Now
love the
He-Man's
Ninja
catching up
Turtles.
though. He-Man is catching up.
he's getting close. Like I love seeing crossovers are kind of nothing new. Like for even within their own franchises, when you had
Right.
when we got like Secret Wars for the first time, and we got all these heroes who don't normally interact with each other. They come together to fight a common enemy. But then you
Yeah, but
had
they're still from the same universe, though.
yeah, it's kind of cool seeing that expand because then we got our first Batman Spider-Man crossover, and that
Hmm.
was amazing because
Yeah, we never got
who would
toys
have
of
thought?
those, so I wish we
Yeah,
had.
I wish that had been a thing that happened. I don't think we got any sort of like DC crossover with anyone action figures until the Ninja Turtles crossover that they did with Batman,
Yeah,
and those toys are
they're
phenomenal.
outstanding.
They're
They are
so well done.
outstanding. So well done. Perfectly captured that animated
Mhm.
look. Just fantastic toys. I love those guys.
It makes me hope that we see a Batman He-Man crossover because like you're right, He-Man is starting to catch up with Ninja Turtles because we've already seen the Ninja Turtles crossover, which is still excellent to me. And man, do I wish that line would come back as just a quickie subline to supplement the He-Man Thundercats crossover, which
Right.
again, I've got some reviews coming, so people will check those out. But like, so what do you think of the He-Man Thundercats crossover? Have you picked up any of the figures?
I did. I have.
Oh, that's
I
right. You have
showed.
Battle
Yeah,
Cat Man.
I have Battle Cat Man right here sitting on my desk.
I I love this. This is what I have wanted since I was little, and from the time that I had He-Man action figures, but I
Hmm.
I always erred more towards the animal characters. So I loved Battle Cat, and I loved like Whiplash and
Right.
Webstor, and of course the Snake Man and Thundercats. Even though they were humanoid, they were still cats per se, and
Yeah.
the mutants were all just animals. So that was I always wanted those. I wanted those characters to interact. And when you're a kid, of course, all your toys are going to interact with each other. But
Right.
scaling's different. The
Yeah,
style
we were
is
strict.
different.
We were
Gimmicks are
strict about the
different.
scaling of the figures.
Mhm.
But you know what? I'm a little disappointed, and that's a weird crossover line because they made amalgams of Mumra and Skeletor. They
Mhm.
made an amalgam or a more anthropomorphic version of Battle Cat,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
cool. But then, like the others aren't combined in any way. That's why
Yeah,
the
that's
He-Man Ninja Turtle crossover kind of like I like your ideas better than the ones that we got because I wanted to see that mixing amount. Like I wanted to
yeah.
see the Lion-O He-Man
Mhm.
combined into one weird dude, and it's
Yeah.
not. You have the Lion-O, and you have now
Mhm.
the Lion-O is wearing more like Eternia battle armor than
Mhm.
he normally does. But like I wanted to see like an actual amalgam. But then they did do an amalgam of Mama and Skeletor, so I don't know where they're going with this.
Yeah, so they only did that because in the original DC crossover of Thundercats and He-Man, the story was that the ancient spirits of evil were tired of Mum-Ra failing, and somehow Skeletor managed to peek into their world, and they essentially fired Mum-Ra and they hired Skeletor. So he became like the master of evil, but Mum-Ra hadn't been completely destroyed. So even though Skeletor absorbed his powers, he accidentally also absorbed Mum-Ra into himself. So
Right.
the two of them were fighting for dominance of this new form. And he became like the main big threat. So when the Thundercats and the Eternians came together to fight him, Lion-O did like the big call to all Thundercats to come and help him. And then
Mhm.
for like I think two panels only, we got to see Battle Cat as like a fully anthropomorphic warrior, and it blew everyone's mind. And everyone wanted that to happen. So I'm really glad that they were able to give us. He doesn't look exactly like this. Like there's some minor changes to him, but this is close enough. Um, that's why we have these two in the line. But I completely agree. I as much as I love crossovers, I love what Ninja Turtles kind of implies with their crossovers, where mutagen's going to be involved, some sort of
Yes.
fusion between whatever characters are on this side and Ninja Turtles. That's why
Like
the
the
Batman
Batman
crossover.
villains, yeah, that we didn't
Yeah,
get toys of. which is a
Man,
sin, but
makes me
they
so
were
sad.
so well drawn and well thought out. And
That's exactly what I want.
even the different ones that were in the animated
Mhm.
feature film as opposed
Yes.
to the comic book were
Yup.
still awesome, and the figures were based on that. But like
Man,
that,
I would do a lot of terrible things to have gotten Jaguar Bane or
yeah,
Polar Bear Mr.
the
Freeze.
the polar bear
Man,
Mr. Freeze was fantastic, and
they look
everything
so good.
Michelangelo said about him in the was spot on.
The Joker as a serpent, like all of those made so much sense, and yeah, that's the kind of thing that I loved. And when we got the He-Man crossover, yeah, that was when I lost my mind and made like 40 some odd fan characters that were all these fusions of different characters. Because that's, to me, that's the best kind of crossover. Like I like seeing characters interact with each other, but the Ninja Turtles fusion, give me that. So I completely agree with the Thundercats crossover. It's a little bit weird because yeah, I don't know exactly what their end game is, aside from it being a crafty way, in much the same way that I think Mattel's end game when they did the WWE crossovers was, we need funding for tooling for the Origins Masters line, because
Right.
that line predates Origins, which I think is hilarious. I think Super 7 was still kind of finishing up their license with He-Man at the time, and then Mattel jumped back in and they're like, well, we want our own line again. So, but first let's do WWE stuff, because Mattel was also making WWE action figures.
Right.
And they're like, but what if in the He-Man style? And WWE just wants figures out. So, they made whatever. Mattel made those. And then when that was done, they said, hey guys, how about some actual He-Man? And brilliant. And I think this time around, their thought was, one, we want our own Thundercats line. Like Super 7 has theirs, we want ours.
Yeah,
So
they're
why not?
fantastic figures.
And yeah, because once you take the armor off, once you get the armor off of them, they're
They're just
excellent.
Thundercats figures. They're a new
Yeah,
Thundercats line.
this is the 6-inch Thundercats line that I think people have wanted for a very long time. So the armor, Panther is one of the laziest ones of the line.
I know.
gotta tell you, they don't even. Oh, I have to swap his shins. They don't even package him with his shins, like this little bit right here. He
Yeah.
doesn't come packaged like this. Like, they all come with their Eternian armor on and whatever. He comes packaged with his regular Thundercats shins. So they're
Oh.
like, yeah, he just threw that on real quick and then left the cat's lair. Just shake
He's
all
like-
that off, and he's well.
He's cosplaying as a He-Man character.
I wish he could get a better. The expression on his face. Panthro does not want to wear Eternian armor. He's like, do we have to? Are we really doing this? Come on, guys.
And then Crystal Ball's like, you do. You want to wear
you
that.
totally wear it. And he's like, all right, just for like a minute.
He's like, all right, I'll leave the boots on.
But I think Mattel was really smart in that they said, okay, well, one, we want a Thundercats line because people love them some Thundercats, but also pre-tooling for the 2000X line for He-Man. Like, that's what we're going to be seeing next. And most of these characters have that kind of tooling. So kudos to Mattel for really thinking this through and thinking ahead. I've started to kind of see, as fandoms tend to do, a little bit of whining about all the crossover stuff that has been happening. And you know what? I don't care one bit. I'm getting what I want. I've sat through garbage.
Oh, selfish
trash.
time. Reared his ugly head.
It's my time to be selfish about these things. As a toy collector who has very specific likes and dislikes. And I'm not saying that we've had nothing but trash, but I have bided my time and supported a number of things that I have thought were just okay. And this is a weird, quirky, you're kind of strangest, and it doesn't even affect anything. There's so many. We still have Mattel Creations that are cranking out all of these characters. We still have the main Transformers line that is cranking out all these characters. Super 7 is still making Thundercats and Silverhawks. I wonder if that's the next crossover line they're going to do.
I hope not. I hope I did leave the Silverhawks where they are. Although I do like the animated. Now they're doing the animated Ultimates. Mm-hmm. I like those better than the other Ultimates. Like, kind of have the more animated look. You know what was a cool crossover storyline in the comics? It was sort of so cool. It was a no-brainer. and the toys were pretty neato. The Terminator RoboCop crossover.
Yes, that was a really good comic, and I wish that we had I wish that we had a toy line to accompany it because I don't think one exists. I think that there is a RoboCop figure that comes with a Terminator dog.
The dog, yeah.
I think he's from the comics, but I don't remember if he's from the comics or the game.
I think it's from the comics, and the figure's pretty neato because, like, the RoboCop, his biological parts is starting to rot away. It was kind of a cool, but the story was fantastic. And then when the first time I saw it, I was like, yes, this makes perfect sense. I love it. It was good stuff.
Now, have you seen any of the Power Ranger crossover figures?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, they have. Man, you can't get away from Ninja Turtles because
Right,
there
you cannot. Nor can you get away from Power Rangers. They just keep on chasing you. They will never go away. They will go and go and go and go Power Rangers.
They will never die, and I'm glad. Like I'm glad that there's.
Oh yeah, there are plenty. I know a lot
franchise.
of like dedicated Power Rangers fans. I think I was too old when they came out over here. Like I was older than would buy into that sort of show.
Yeah.
But people just a little bit younger, they are really, they love their Power Rangers.
There are some diehards. I applaud them for standing by. I was always,
but that's a lot of toys. They have a lot of toys. If you are a Power Rangers collector, man, oh man, you need a lot of storage space.
Yeah, I feel like that's almost as bad as being a Godzilla collector. Like there's just no way. If you're a completionist, you have no shot. It's never going to happen.
The only difference is you could go to a bin and find Power Rangers guys for like $3 for $5 or $5 for $10. You can't find Godzilla stuff like that.
I mean, I guess unless you're looking at like the Trendmaster stuff, but have you seen? Have you seen the Ninja Turtles Power Rangers crossover figures? Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was impressed with the way those came out. They didn't. I don't know what their sales were like because I remember them going on clearance not too long quickly after they.
They went clearance fast.
Which was kind of a shame to me because I really liked their take on the. I mean, it's based on a comic book crossover that happened. That was a lot of fun and really cool.
What company did that?
Oh, I believe that was. No, I think it may. I think it was Hasbro.
Oh, okay.
I think. I
can't remember, so I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, I want to say Hasbro only because they had the Power Rangers license at the time.
Right.
I could be mistaken. Anyone feel free to reach out and tell me I am wrong. But I believe it was Hasbro that offered them. And I remember seeing the 2-packs come out.
You just invited a butt actually.
Yeah, come on in with your butt actuallys, and we will ignore them. I remember the comic coming out and that being a lot of fun. I think it was it IDW? Maybe IDW that did the crossover. And it was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun. No pun intended. They were a lot of fun, and the new forms looked really cool. And Turtles as Power Rangers is not a new concept because they crossed over with the live action series in the 90s. They did not receive toys for them, but the idea was out there that because Saban was also doing the Next Mutation and they were also handling the Power Rangers line, they just crossed them over. But that line is great. The Green Ranger Shredder is excellent. So I'm a little sad that we didn't get more of them because there is a follow-up comic to the Power Rangers where it's them and they get different powers and they get different forms and they look really cool, but we won't see them. Same thing with Power Rangers that crossed over with Godzilla. There's a Godzilla Power Rangers crossover. So
that makes sense.
There are Kaiju Rangers that exist.
Well, and Marvel and DC now with Godzilla, so even toys. We're even getting we already got the King Kong, the Batman and King Kong.
Yes,
and
that's
then
right.
Superman and Godzilla is coming.
I laughed when we kind of saw those because there's no way to properly scale those figures.
It came with the little ones.
Yeah, I mean
they made a good run at it though.
They tried, and they do look good. Like those are. It's a really good King Kong, and it's a really good looking Godzilla figure that they came out with. I'm looking forward to the Ninja Turtles Godzilla crossover that's
Those things
happening.
are just straight up goofy. Like they
They're,
look
they're a
like
little weird.
Ninja Turtles
A little weird
wearing
looking.
kaiju costumes, and I still don't know if they're supposed to be big. Like, are they
I
kaiju
think
or are they
I think
Ninja
they're
Turtle
supposed to be
size?
normal. I think they're turtle size, and it's even more strange because there's only three of
It'd be
them.
better if they were kaiju.
That would be see you would
Mhm.
think that that would be what they would have done, but no, I think they're just normal size. But there's also only three of them, which is strange because that
Yeah, when I saw those, I got to be honest. Like, I was excited about a new Ninja Turtle crossover because, like I said, they're crossover hoes. But and then I saw them and I was like, no.
I mean, you
Well,
get
I
it.
mean,
Sometimes it is a swing and a miss, like
right.
the upcoming He-Man Transformers crossover toy line that's coming.
Hmm.
Not the
Yeah,
it's
not
another one of those lines where the potential, the concept is great. The potential for something amazing is there, and there's
mm,
been plenty of customizers and people who repaint figures who have already done the simplest thing in the world is to take the most recent version of Bludgeon that came out, paint him into Skeletor. Just
right.
no,
Just
no,
change the
no,
colors and be done. Yeah.
yeah, no retooling needed. That's your Skeletor. And I don't know what they plan on doing or if they plan on doing anything on the Hasbro side. But I know that Mattel has already put out their Skeletor and or pre-orders for their Skeletor and their Man-at-Arms wearing Cybertronian armor. So you've got Man-at-Arms wearing Bumblebee armor, and he looks kind of silly. And Skeletor wearing sort of
Why
Megatronish
wouldn't you put?
armor,
Why
and he
wouldn't
also
you
looks
put?
kind of silly.
Why wouldn't you put Bumblebee armor on Buzz Off?
You would think, and the immediate thought for like Man at Arms would be Brawn because
Right.
it's
Same
this.
color scheme. Hmm.
But I think maybe that's why they opted to not do that because if Braun crashed into Man at Arms, you just get Man at Arms. Like he's already wearing Braun armor, so like what else would you add aside from like
Right.
tires? So I get what they're going for. I just think that this needed another pass or maybe like another two passes through creative. But I think maybe they are starting to feel that pressure of got to get something out every year, got to get something out. So maybe there's
Right.
not enough
Yeah.
time to refine it as well because the Ninja Turtles crossover is just amazing, and I think that like I said, I think there's a lot of extra thought that went into the planning for Thundercats to get them what they needed. With the Transformers crossover, it's kind of looking like it's the dumping of figures into a bin and cobbling something
Hmm.
together where it could definitely have been handled better. And these lines aren't bad, and the artwork for them because I've seen there are scans of the mini comics that come with them.
Hmm.
The concept for the story isn't even that they've met the Transformers, which I was a little surprised by. The concept is that it's all right. Anyone who doesn't care for spoilers, fast forward 3 minutes. The
3 minutes.
concept for the it won't take me that long, but just in case. Uh, she rolled her eyes and said, "Not again." The concept for it was that the war on Cybertron is happening, and they're leaving Cybertron, and Optimus Prime says we need to have like a record of our society for others to like be warned of what might happen here. So they send out essentially like what we're doing. We're sending information off into space, and we really shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
But they send off their information into space, and that includes like their stats and their designs and all that fun stuff. So Eternia gets the message, or they get like whatever little like satellite thing that they sent off, and they're like, "Oh, this is like some real futuristic stuff. We need to secure this before." And then Skeletor attacks because somehow he got the information before them, and,
Because he's
and
Skeletor.
yeah, and in the comic, the designs don't look that bad. Like drawn in a comic style, but the conversion from that to toy could use a little polish. I don't have them in hand, so maybe once
The
I have
two
them in
just don't
hand.
mesh well. Like G.I. Joe had a history with
Mhm.
Transformers. There's a whole line of comics from a million years ago.
What? Well,
And then the cars would like, unless you're going to have like attack tracks turn into a robot.
Well, that's kind of my thing, and that's where why I kind of wonder if there's going to be, like, we're seeing the Mattel side of things right now, and I'm wondering if there's going to be a Hasbro side of this, because yeah, I give me transforming Attack Track, give me transforming Bashosaurus, give me a
Mm,
transforming Spy. Like, there's all these creatures that you could turn, or even if you just wanted to be lazy and paint Tigertron into Battle Cat, turn Air Razor into the Sorceress. Like, that's fine. I'd be on board for that. But I don't know if they're going to. I don't know. We're going to see a Hasbro side of this crossover. What I think a lot of people are upset about is that there was a toy line within Transformers called Pretenders, where
right.
the
That
whole
makes me laugh
point of
every
it,
time.
the subterfuge ran deep. Um,
That just
but a
makes
lot
me
of,
laugh every time. Robots in disguise. In
but
disguise.
they're like, look, we need more hats to put on this hat.
That's right.
Uh, but the Pretenders were people. Like, a lot of the Pretender shells were just people. So you
Mm.
had characters like, oh, sorry, my Pretender knowledge is limited. But they had a lot of warrior style characters, or a lot of Viking style characters. There's one called, I think, Doubleheader. I want to call everyone Doubleheader for some reason. But there's a two-headed character. One of the Pretenders had two heads. They're like, there's your Too Bad repaint, remold.
Hmm.
So a lot of people were thinking a Transformers He-Man crossover is clearly Pretenders, right? Because that's just what you have. And then on the robot side, you could have, maybe Roboto gets an upgrade, and we get, like, Optimus Prime or Jazz or Starscream repainted in Roboto colors, and that's not what we're getting. So I have harped too long on Transformers and go and,
But that
He-Man.
never happens.
There's so many crossovers that have been happening that we've been seeing lately. Like I said, like Garfield crossing over with Ninja Turtles is hilarious to me, and we're getting
But yeah, that's
toys.
very funny. You know what always makes me laugh? The and I don't know if it's Matchbox or Hot Wheels, so forgive me, Hot Wheels or Matchbox fans, but the ones where they cross over and you have, like, the crossover is Skeletor has a Dodge Caravan, and it's like painted purple and has his face on the side,
I
you know.
I think of the crossover potential. Hot Wheels, maybe Hot Wheels is the king of this,
Yeah,
because
they have a lot of
name
licenses.
name a franchise that doesn't have some sort of Hot Wheels figure connected to it. I remember, as recently as a couple of weeks ago, I remember seeing, and I completely forgot about this, the He-Man crossover that,
Yeah.
that you had mentioned, where there's a little tiny land shark that
Yep.
will fit on any sort of Hot
I have
Wheels
that,
track, which
and
is
I
awesome.
have the Thunder Tank. Same way.
Mhm. That is, maybe Hot Wheels is the true undisputed king of crossovers. Back in the early 2000s, when Car Robots came out, they had a line called Spy Changers, and those were specifically made to fit on Hot Wheels sets. And even
Mhm.
in the show, when something was going wrong, when the Decepticons showed up, they had a specialized network of tunnels and roads to get them to kind of like cut through time and space to get to where they needed to go. Those were Hot Wheel tracks. So
Mhm.
the whole point of the Spy Changers was you set up Hot Wheel tracks and you put them on, you let them run through, and then they would show up and fight the Decepticons.
Right.
Uh,
That's awesome. I love when a crossover kind of happens in a like organic, almost coincidental way, like the two pack with the Yellow Lantern Predator.
yes,
It's because
that
the
makes
artist drew
perfect
a
sense.
predator way in the background, and then it was like, "That's awesome!" And then they made the two pack with the predator with the
that
within the Sinestro Corps.
that is one of the best examples. And I remember that being one of the reasons, aside from Blackest Night being just one of the best stories that DC has ever done, I loved that kind of thing for the artist, where you got to just add anything that you were into the background. Because, yeah, seeing the Predator as a Sinestro Corps member, or seeing like Bolton as a member of the Red Lanterns, and all these
Yeah,
random outside characters that would normally,
right.
I'm
But
sure the
now
thing
I
was
think
we
about
can't
it
make
like
figures of
that.
them, but
We never got the Predator because Predator crossed over into DC multiple times, as did
yeah.
Aliens, because Predator came to Gotham to hunt Batman, and
Yes.
Superman fought the aliens, and we never got those crossover toys. So that's what made it so great, because there was a history of Predator in DC, and that toy was fantastic. It really is a good figure.
Yeah, it now it makes me wonder if, because there seems to be less of a hands-off approach. Like that was something that was just, so far and few between, and now that we're so much more comfortable seeing that kind of thing, I wonder, because now that Marvel has the Aliens and Predator licenses, and they've got a bunch of series where it's the Aliens versus Marvel and Predator hunting Wolverine and Black Panther. If we're going to get eventually a Marvel Legends Predator, I just do
neat.
it. At this point, why not?
Yeah, I was upset that we never. I thought for sure, when we got those Predator Prey 2-packs with Superman and Doomsday, and that we were going to get to see those crossovers, but we didn't.
I think that one of the things that I really liked that happened in the toy industry in the kind of the mid 2000s, when we were in the full throes of Marvel Legends, and NECA was still kind of newish, and we had DC Direct, that the scaling became a lot more uniform. Like, I know in the 80s, it was the Wild West, and everyone was making everything at whatever, and there was no universal size anything. And then, almost like the USB port, it became this universal. Okay, you got your 4-inch scale, you've got your 6-inch scale, and then depending on where you are in the pecking order, you get 7-inch scale. And that was how whatever license holder could make even more money by licensing it out to multiple franchises who are making the same thing. But yeah, it was kind of cool, because now you didn't have that issue. Like, now it's just more official that, okay, yeah, it's Alien versus Spider-Man. But if you collected the NECA Predators and then you just bought Daredevil, you could do that crossover and it wouldn't look as weird. It's not like, if you wanted to cross over He-Man with Inhumanoids, you can't, that conversation it could happen because you were younger and you had imagination. But as for like more of an official kind of thing, you couldn't do that because the sizing wasn't functioning the way that you would like it to. And now we're getting much more. That's one of the parameters for the crossover figures to happen. It's like, well, they have to inhabit the same world, so they need to be the same scale, same style, same detailing. So that is kind of cool to see now. That's
the 80s kid dream has been coming true. You know what? How about a double-decker crossover? You ready?
Oh, are we fantasy booking now? Let's do it.
The double-decker. Real-life NBA players with Warner Brothers cartoon characters in Space Jam, and then they cross over with DC characters when Bugs Bunny was Batman and Tazzy Devil was Aquaman. Like, we got toys of those, and that is true. That's like a double decker.
I completely forgot about Space Jam. That is very much crossover that makes sense, and I'm a little surprised we didn't see more of that. I don't know if that was a licensing thing or what, but yeah, you're completely right.
I mean, the Bugs Bunny DC, I mean, they were both animated by Warner Brothers, so that makes sense. But still counts in my world.
And now we're getting a Sonic crossover with DC. So
that's
now
right. And Transformers, right? Didn't Sonic crossover with Transformers?
Yes, there was a Sonic and Tails 2-pack that crossover with Transformers. You can get the Sonic Tails 2-pack of those. And coming out soon is going to be because they had a crossover in the comics recently where Sonic appeared in the DC universe, and I guess they had to like switch universes for a while. So Sonic and his crew were like, we'll handle things here. So you have Sonic as the Flash and Knuckles as Superman, Shadow as Batman. We're getting toys of these with a new dark side that scales correctly with these characters. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that'll be neat.
I like that this, for however long it lasts, I am here to thoroughly enjoy any and all the crossovers that we've been getting. I guess that'll maybe wrap us up on crossovers. I think we've kind of hit think we've tackled a good chunk of them. I know that a lot of them were Ninja Turtles, Transformers, and Master Universe,
Right.
but that's those kinds of franchises because of the way that their lore works. Really, like they just kind of open themselves up to it. You can cross anything over with Ninja Turtles. If the
Right.
Ninja Turtles showed up in Law and Order, would you question it? Would you feel like, yeah, we found this body down in the sewers, and it's a mutated croc, but we also found these guys who saw the whole thing, and it's the four of them. And would
I
it
don't
be
know.
weird?
Mariska
Sure.
Hargitay, April O'Neil. I don't know if that'll work.
She's the pesky reporter who wants all the answers about this crime that happened. I and again, same thing for He-Man. It's this open world, sorcery and science apply. So if you get any franchise that's on either side of those, if GI Joe wound up on Eternia, would you question it? Is after the movie, after what happened with Cobra Law, I think that opened them up to even more crossover because
Right. Yeah.
Transformers, that kind of made sense because, like you said, like the military stuff and their vehicles,
Mm.
whatever. But the mystic side of it, with your crystal ball and your Cobra Law and
Mhm.
all that stuff, if they wound up on Eternia, how much
Could
would they
happen.
question it? It's just those franchises open themselves up to it, and I'm here for all of it. Give me all the cross. This is what I spent
Man,
all my time thinking
if you had
about.
an amalgam Skeletor and Cobra Commander, his voice would be so high, only dogs would be able to hear it.
He'd just be gesticulating everywhere. No one would understand. Are you getting any of this? I'm not getting any of this.
Right. Wait a minute, if he can't read his lips, he either has the mask on or no lips at all.
Don't understand. It would probably be like the newer one, the more armored look, but also he'd be wearing the hood. So it
Yeah.
would just confuse everybody. So all right, so it's question time, sir.
Oh no.
You if you're given the reins, you can make a crossover series of your choice. What are we getting?
Let me think. I mean, you know who else would be great crossovers with just about anyone? A lot of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I know I go on about
Oh,
Hanna-Barbera a lot.
that is true. You're not wrong because there's a bunch of DC comics where they've crossed over. Like Batman
Right.
has interacted with Top Hat. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Top Cat.
Top
I
Cat.
love.
Yeah, and he had a great theme song, that jazzy Top Cat song. I love it. Yeah, and that opens the door. I mean, even if we had like El Kabong and Jonah Hex, like
Oh,
could work.
what a great crossover story.
Right, it could work. And of course the obvious, like, who would be a great conversation sitting in and listening to Thundar speak to He-Man. There'd be a lot of monosyllabic things, but.
Give me Captain Caveman fighting with Vandal Savage any day of the week.
Yeah.
They both carry a grudge from the same time period.
Right, but you think of any? Well, I mean, a lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff's kind of derivative from other things, right? Thundar's, he was pre He-Man, but he was very, the sun sword lightsaber thing, but. Mm-hmm. I still think that would be a fun crossover, and like anyone you could think of, there's sort of a Hanna-Barbera, like Batman and Blue Falcon, or Space Ghost and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Any kind of those crossover toys would be really cool for me to see.
I think that there's always going to be those crossovers that fans scream and yell and swear that they want, and I'm not sure if they would be happy if they got it. Right. And I say this about like your big time franchises, Star Trek and Star Wars. If those two cross over, I don't know if the world survives.
No, because that'd be a fight. They don't get along.
Yeah, even if they claim to like both, even if you have one that claim to like both, the second that Picard punches Luke, like I don't know if the fandoms survive that encounter.
No, but how cool would it be, like, to have a Transformer, Phantom Cruiser, or a Transformer Mystery Machine, or a Transformer, what's the Dune buggy's name?
Oh,
Yeah,
not Turbo Teen, the other one. But
yeah. Or
you know
even
what
more
they
so like a Transformer Mach 5 from Speed Racer. Like there's
You
so
know what
many
I
things.
to that I say with anything Transformers, give it time because we've seen them now. Like they don't seem to care. They roll the dice. We've got
Right.
Naruto Transformer crossovers. So
Yeah, I saw
I
that coming. Isn't there a Naruto Ninja Turtles coming?
yes, there's already a comic that's out. So I don't know if we get action figures from that, but hopefully, I hope that
But
that
like
happens because they look
all of
great.
the cool race cars from Speed Racer would make great Transformers.
Yeah, I think the Transformers. I think that Hasbro. It's just a matter of time because they seem to have really caught the bug. And there are Street Fighter Transformer crossover figures.
Right. I
They
forgot
look very
about those.
strange. They look
Yeah,
very
they're not
strange,
good.
and I think it's only because they kept so close to the original designs that they decided to make any exposed what would be skin peach colored,
They're gross
which is
looking.
yeah, it's a little weird. I
They
think that
kind of have that Turbo Teen creepiness about them.
yeah, I think if they had replaced the peach with metal, I think if they had gone like metallic gray, I think those crossovers would have done better.
Right.
Kind of like the their X-Men crossover. The most recent Marvel Transformer crossover was the Blackbird, which ironically wasn't black; it was blue. But
Right. Well,
it was
it was based on the animated look. Yeah.
yeah, it was I think a retool of the movie Jetfire, and it's a good figure and it's very cool. But they also made the right decision to any like exposed flesh area, like the face. It's silver. It's not. It's not like exposed
Right.
pink. It's very weird, very strange. Um, or if you look at like going back to the crossovers that the fandoms wouldn't be able to handle. I know from personal experience, Transformers versus GoBots. There,
Oh,
you've got your
yeah.
fans of both. Yeah, I know that the common joke is that the GoBots are inferior, and that's a thing that exists, and it's stupid, and I don't get it because
Hmm.
GoBots are amazing. But you cross them over, and let me tell you, the second leader one lands a punch on Optimus Prime. People are mad. People
Right.
are
But
mad.
or we
I
see
got a lot of hate mail from that.
Grimlock and Zod Monster fighting.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that was something that I did. People seem to like that because
Mhm.
Grimlock killed Zod. But we're not happy when I
Of
had
course you
Man
did.
take over the Insecticons. Just
Mm.
just saying, it's an interesting dynamic with your fandom with crossovers and whatever. So my answer to the question is just a million cheats. Just there's still as much as I'm enjoying all the crossovers that are happening right now. There's still so many more that I want to see in toy form that I want on my shelf. I want franchises that don't have toy lines anymore to come out of retirement and exist. When I was younger, one of the things I wanted more than anything else was for Battle Beasts to cross over with Thundercats because you
Right.
already
Well, that
had
makes sense. Yeah,
anthropomorphic
yeah.
animals and Mumra's already using anthropomorphic animals to fight the Thundercats. And I'm like, get yourselves a Battle Beast cat team. Like they have no origin. And
Right.
this is before I knew about Headmasters and their appearance in that, what their origins were in that. But give me that crossover.
That's a good
Give
one.
me
I thought you were going to come way out of left field and be like, I want the Love Boat characters and Barnyard Commandos.
no, but I did want the Inhumanoids to fight Roboforce. Two
Yes, that'd be good.
franchises that like have nothing to do with each other, but with the right story, they could, and it could be a lot
Mhm.
of fun. I still want the last Ninja Turtles Batman crossover was a gigantic, almost like Crisis on Infinite Earths, Marvel versus DC style story where instead of just the Ninja Turtles appearing in DC, the Ninja Turtles Mirage world was fusing with DC. So you had
Nice.
like the opening scene is Batman teamed with Raphael as the Red Hood, Leonardo as Nightwing. Like those were the fusions
Yeah,
that were
yeah. I remember.
happening.
Yeah, and spoiler, they had them all. Yeah.
Yeah, and the big bad. Again, skip 30 seconds if you don't want spoilers. The big bad at the end of it all is the Anti-Monitor with a giant Krang in his stomach. I
That's cool.
want a toy of that so badly. I also want from the late 90s the Marvel versus DC crossover when they decided they couldn't have an actual winner. We had everything had to be a tie, but at the end of it all, we got the amalgam universe.
The
And
Amalgam universe was pretty cool.
we got Dark Claw and Super Soldier and Spider Boy and like all those really cool looking Thanos side. Like I want those characters as action figures, and I wonder if we're ever going to get to the point where they can team up and do that. I know that we've
I
just
don't know. That'd be tough.
we've just recently gotten, yeah, like for the first time in over a decade, we've gotten our first DC Marvel crossover comic with Deadpool and Batman, which has a couple of other extra stories in it. Like there's a good story with Wonder Woman and Captain America in it. But I would, man, how amazing would it be to get those amalgam characters? But I don't know.
Those would be cool. Well, you
So
custom things, do it.
I know, but I want it to be official. I want them to get over themselves and give me a full toy line. Or even if Marvel does, they did a storyline where Gamora, she did the opposite of what Thanos wanted, where Thanos wanted to wipe out half of the universe. She accomplished this not by wiping out half of them, but by merging half of the universe together. Or like she has it by combining everyone. So every soul.
Right.
Everyone became two souls mushed together. And that gave us like weird but interesting combinations of characters like Captain America and Doctor Strange, Wolverine and Emma Frost. Like just weird Marvel characters getting combined in ways that you didn't think about before. Give me those. There's no excuse for that. Marvel owns all those characters.
Right.
I think they called it like Infinity Warps. Give me those. But
That's a good name.
So with that, let's bring this to an end and get you out of here so you can do some work now that you have played hard.
Right.
I want to thank everyone who has been listening to the show and watching the show. We appreciate it greatly. Give us a like if you're enjoying the episode. Tell your friends, tell your buddies, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, follow us on Blue Sky. Our handle is 2 Guys Talking Toys. That is the number 2, no G after the talking. Follow my toy treks on Instagram at 2G Talking Toys. And until the next time you're forced to combine with your friend because Gamora said so, take care, everybody. So is Crystal Ball part of the Dreadnoughts, or is he just his own thing?
He was his own thing, but I always put him with the Dreadnoughts because he kind of looks like it. Yeah,
he looks like it. Yeah, like he's the creepy one that even they don't want to really interact with.
Yeah, so, I always had Mindbender with Cobra Commander, but Crystal Ball was definitely with the Dreadnought.
And that seems like the cluster of characters he would enjoy kind of messing with.
Right, and they kind of had that like rock and roll, like heavy metal, maybe Satanist thing going on, Kiss Army kind of thing.